Hello there, and welcome to my TED Talk. Thanos was wrong. Now, I don't know if everyone here knows who Thanos is, but he's a character from the hit Marvel movie Avengers Infinity War, and he'll also be an important character in the upcoming release of Avengers Endgame. I don't know whether you've all seen Infinity War, but just in case, I'm going to give you all a short recap of what happened in the movie and what exactly Thanos did. You see, Thanos wants to get all 6 Infinity Stones so that he can enact his evil plan, but we'll talk about that later. Now, before the movie has even started, Thanos has already destroyed Xandar and taken the Power Stone. He uses the Power Stone to defeat Thor, Loki, and the Hulk. He actually ends up killing Loki and takes the Space Stone. As the movie continues, Thanos continues taking Infinity Stones. He kills the Collector to take the Reality Stone. He kills his own daughter, Gamora, to take the Soul Stone. And then, in an epic battle with Iron Man, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, and most of the Guardians of the Galaxy, he takes the Time Stone. Using that, he's able to kill Vision and steal the last one, the Mind Stone. Now, Thanos has finally collected all 6 Infinity Stones. He's completed the Infinity Gauntlet, which means he can complete his master plan. You see, like most villains, Thanos actually has a tragic backstory from his time on his home planet, which had a very similar situation to what is currently happening on Earth. Their population was growing exponentially, and Thanos believed that this overpopulation was causing his planet to collapse. So he thought of a solution. By destroying half of all the people living on his planet, he would be able to solve overpopulation. His plan did not come to fruition, and his planet ends up being destroyed anyways. So, Thanos instead decides to enact his initial idea on the entire universe by eliminating half of all life in the universe. To do this, he hunts for the Infinity Stones, which is the whole thing I just explained. And once he has all 6 of them, Thanos, after surviving an attack from Thor, snaps. He wipes out half of all life in the universe, and that's where the movie Infinity War ends. So, I bet the question everyone has on their minds is, why did I just take all that time to explain the entire plot of Infinity War? Well, first of all, I thought it would be kind of funny, but second of all, I did it to emphasize how much work Thanos put into this plan to wipe out the universe. I mean, if you're going to do this much, you must be really sure that this plan is the best option for the galaxy. It sure would suck if you spent all this time taking stones and killing people for a plan that doesn't even work. I think you can see where I'm going with this. The truth is, Thanos' plan really doesn't make sense when you stop and think about it. I'm going to argue that Thanos didn't think things through, and that wiping out half of the universe like he wanted to, and eventually did, wouldn't even work. In fact, I believe it would actually halt progress and cause more problems than it could ever possibly fix. Now, before I explain why Thanos is wrong, we need to talk about a real-life human being named Thomas Malthus. Because Thanos and Malthus actually have very similar beliefs about population growth. And to be honest, Malthus would probably agree with Thanos' plan. Malthus believed that human population was destined to reach a certain point where it was growing faster than the rate at which humans could produce food. Within his theory, a time was going to come when there would be a massive worldwide famine and death, as humans grew too much too fast. Sound familiar? Sounds a lot like something Thanos said about his home planet. Too many mouths, not enough to go around. I think it's very likely that the writers of Infinity War took some of the ideas of Thomas Malthus and incorporated them into the character of Thanos, which begs the question, are they the same person? We want answers. Anyways, there is a problem. See, Malthus was wrong. His idea of a dystopian future where the entire world is starving has never even come close to reality. And there's no evidence to suggest that it will happen in the future. And because Thanos and Malthus have such similar philosophies, I'm going to instead be focusing on both of them at the same time, and when I refer to Thanos, I'm also referring to Malthus at the same time. So the question is, why was Thanos, and by extension, Malthus, wrong? Now, before we answer that, I'm going to be excluding all of the crazy technology in the Marvel Universe, like the Iron Man suits and things like that, and I'm just going to be talking about how things are in our real-life Earth. Now, at first, it might seem that overpopulation is the most pressing issue facing us. Thanos certainly thought it was. But the reason for this is because people mistakenly believe that overpopulation causes other problems, like poverty, world hunger, and global climate change. And the truth is a little bit more complicated than that. Now, I'm not saying there aren't negative impacts of overpopulation, because there certainly are. But what I am saying is that if we removed overpopulation from the equation, which is what Thanos' plan would do, most of our problems would still remain, and some of them would actually get worse, or new problems would arise. So let's start with a big one first, world hunger. With 795 million people in the world going hungry, it's easy to think it's a result of there being too many people and not enough food. But in reality, we actually produce more than enough food for everyone on this planet. The problem is distribution of that food and the overconsumption by many developed nations. I mean, the percentage of people that are malnourished has actually been consistently decreasing over time. Eliminating half of all people in truly random fashion like Thanos suggests would still leave us with the same problems related to food production. Although I will admit, it would temporarily make overconsumption less of a big deal, but it would do nothing to help the bigger problem of food distribution, and many would still go hungry. So, moving on. Many people might think that having half as many humans on Earth would lower carbon emissions and greenhouse gases. I think it would help a little bit, but in reality, it wouldn't be solving any kind of problem. Having less people doesn't mean much if the atmosphere is still being consistently polluted by fossil fuels and agricultural industries. All it would do is slow down the pace a little bit. And that's the truth. The truth is, with or without Thanos, humans aren't going to be facing some sort of Malthus-style apocalypse where the whole world is starving. And the simple reason for that is because we have the intelligence and the technology to fix our own problems. Food production has kept up with our extreme population growth. And I will admit the population growth is extreme, as you can see by this chart here. It's grown exponentially over time, and it is continuing to do so. But my point is, that's not necessarily the biggest problem we have. And the reason for that is because over time, we constantly create new things that become a part of our daily lives. We haven't ran out of food yet because we've developed more efficient ways to grow crops as well as raise livestock. This all leads me to my final point, which is that if half of all humans disappeared, then progress would grind to a halt and it would be disastrous. Many important jobs would be unfilled. There would be less thinkers and inventors in the world to cope with the new situation. The pure chaos that this would all cause outweighs any of the small benefits that it might bring. And hopefully I've made it clear to you that those would be very small benefits and would not really solve anything. So, I think it is safe to say that Thanos' plan was not very well thought out. To sum it all up, Thanos is really dumb. Or as Gordon Ramsay would say, an idiot sandwich. He didn't think his plan through at all, and honestly shouldn't have gone to all the trouble. Now, if it were me with the all-powerful Infinity Gauntlet and I could do what I wanted, why wouldn't I just make more resources? I mean, he does have the Reality Stone, which can do basically whatever he wants. I think it's a much more obvious solution than wiping out half the universe, but that's just me personally. You know, whatever. So, that's the end of my TED Talk. Thank you all for watching, and goodbye.